Hi everyone, I'm back with some of my thoughts towards my son's 5th grade school year that we're going into. So I say thoughts because it's kind of just like a rough draft of what I'm planning to do. I haven't really had time to sit down and schedule out everything or figure out how we'll use each of these elements. I just want to reiterate that in the past, I talk about we have a lot of different elements. I'm very eclectic when it comes to picking out their curriculum. I kind of piece things together. I like to put my own spin on things because I just know what my kids like and what they don't like. So it's not that easy to just buy a boxed curriculum and say like, yeah, my son's going to totally complete this all this entire year. Excuse me. He'll totally complete this and like it's just going to be perfect and easy. No, that's not how it works. At least in my case, I'll know like I'm going to use this curriculum as like the spine of that subject, but then I like to branch out and kind of piece together different elements, whether it's a game that is similar to that subject, but can be a way to take him away from the pages one day when he's just exhausted of the pages, and we can go and then play a game or, read a book or watch a movie, some YouTube show or whatever that kind of fits in with that whole thing. I don't know. It just works for us. So that's kind of what I do. So I'm going to go over just the short list that I have of things that I know for sure I'm going to fit in this year. But again, I just don't know how I'm going to fit them in yet. So maybe I'll do a video later with the solid plan once I can finally get that on paper. But for now, it's just the different elements that I'm going to be planning to use. Okay, so my son is going into 5th grade. He is starting back with a charter this year. So he started with a charter last year, but then come mid-year, it was just too much to handle. I didn't like all of the restrictions of, making sure he hits all of the public school standards. Everything just got a little bit too hectic with him and my 2 younger daughters enrolled in this charter. So we pulled them and finished out the school year with me just literally doing whatever I felt was good for the year. And it was such a good break to go from years of working with a charter, which we love, by the way. So I don't want to say that I don't love that, but just in this season of my life, I needed to not have, a checklist to hit. I just needed to be able to say, hey, I'm doing it this way. This is what's working for us right now. And I don't want to have to stress about answering to anyone. So long story short, now I'm putting my 5th grader back in because he mostly just misses his extracurriculars. Like he has a really great opportunity to go to a robotics class / sailing lesson. So he gets to go to the harbor and sail and be in the sun and get fresh air. And I totally get why he misses this. Like, it's an awesome opportunity. So we're putting him back in mostly for that reason. And so this year I do have to hit the requirements again, but I think it'll be a lot easier with just one child in the elementary years that I have to really keep up with the requirements and make sure we're touching on everything. My 2 younger daughters are not going to be in the charter. I'm still going to just keep them private, and that will work really nice and easy. I think it's going to be a fine thing. So he's going into the charter again. I'm so sorry. I've had a little bit of a cold for a couple weeks, so if I'm like clearing my throat or whatever, that is why, and I apologize. But anyways, okay, so let's talk about this. I want to talk about first just miscellaneous things, like kind of the electives that I'm thinking, or, the subjects that aren't considered the core subjects. I want to touch on during the summer. Of course, I had it set out that he would finish his summer bridge workbook, which is basically just a page or two of review each day in math, English, science. I think mostly just those three, and maybe some PE sprinkled in. But of course, because, you know, summer is summer, and I'm very lenient about this stuff, he's kind of talked his way out of doing it a lot of days. So he has, I'm not even going to lie and say he literally has more than half of this book to complete. So I'm going to throw that in just as his like morning thing, you know, finish a page a day. Yes, it's for summer, but it's okay. It can go into his 5th grade year. So that's the plan. He's going to be doing his summer bridge book. He also does Easy Peasy, which I've talked about before. So he goes on that every morning. He does math for sure. He loves the math games. He does some of the English. I don't have him doing the writing portions most of the time, unless I just know it's an assignment that he'll really gravitate towards. But that's just loosely added in there. He does the computer subject, which is just, at this point, it's just teaching him, you know, how to work around on a computer. He's very advanced in this, so he knows most of the stuff right now. But again, he's just slowly working through this till he gets to the point where, okay, he's going to be learning something new. So, and he doesn't complain about that. He likes that. He does that easily. So yeah, that's used. The Easy Peasy is used for English and math primarily. I have plans to fit in Bible. I mean, we always do Bible. A lot of times it's just like a quick YouTube or a message from a service that we didn't make it to in person and we're able to watch it online. Or I'll just pull out any one of our devotionals and just pick a topic for that day and we'll go over that. So we'll always do something Bible related. I want to work in more scripture memory this year. That's one thing I haven't really been great about. But I just know it's so important to, you know, memorize the scripture and have it just in your mind to pull during those like hard times when you're struggling, or you need a word of encouragement. So I want to really work on the scripture memory this year. Another thought, and this is the last miscellaneous thought, which I also need a little bit of help with because I haven't looked into it yet, but my son is like on the spectrum. He's young, but mentally he's very advanced, especially when it comes to you know, working on the computer. He's already editing videos. He has his own YouTube channel. That's his passion right now. So I want to get him into some sort of I don't know, graphic designing or editing course or something that he's learning how to work on Canva and Photoshop and, you know, just creatively start doing things online. So I'm thinking I need some help with this. If you have any suggestions, I have heard of a graphic design course, but I think it's geared towards more like middle to high school age. So I need to look at that and see if it's something that I think would be a good fit for him to start even now at his, you know, he's going to be 11 in September. So yeah, I need to work on that, but that's just my thought. Okay, so that's it for the miscellaneous stuff. Let's talk about math. So he does mental math with the good and the beautiful. He never completed his 4th grade mental math, but he's pretty far through it. So we're just going to continue that this year until he completes that. And then I'm not sure if they have a 5th grade level, but if they do, we're definitely going to move into that because he loves doing his mental math. Like I said, he does Easy Peasy math. He does, I have 2 different workbooks for him, both grade 5. It's an Evan Moore Skill Sharpeners, just like math. I really like those. I just like the Skill Sharpener books. We've used it for geography. I think I've used it for like an English language arts subject. But yeah, these are just so easy. You just do, a page or two a day. So we're probably going to rotate the skill sharpeners with, I also got him a grade 5 IXL workbook. Cove is very familiar with IXL. In the past, he's gone on and done, not every day, but he's done review of things through IXL. He also gets a free subscription through his charter to IXL. So I think it'd be cool to pair that with an actual workbook this year. So somehow I'm going to figure that out, and he's going to be rotating through that. He also really loves Khan Academy. I've talked about this before, so of course that'll be another one that we throw in. And then, like I said, I usually add in math games. Like this year I'm excited because I found a math battleship, which I think will be right up his alley. So we're definitely going to throw that in throughout the year. He's very advanced in math. He could technically probably start going into like the pre-algebra type stuff, but he's only in 5th grade. So I don't want to do that. I just want to keep reviewing at his level the math so he can get really solid on, just pulling up what's 5 times whatever. That's an easy one. Everyone knows the 5 times tables, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's pretty good at recalling. He's pretty quick, but I think that it would really benefit him to just keep this year simple in math and just really solidify what he already knows. So that's my math plan. As far as science goes, if you know me in the past, we do science as a family, and this is also just very eclectic. I never really have, I would say I gravitate towards unit studies. So I kind of let my kids tell me what they're interested in science, which a lot of times is something animal based. And then he does get a list from his charter school of topics he's supposed to hit in California. So that helps me kind of piece it together. We love Generation Genius. I've talked about that before, so that will definitely be something we use. We have a couple of the Good and the Beautiful student journals to use. I think we have like the weather one, maybe the weather. That's for 3 to 6th grade. So we're going to do that this year. I have the brain and mind one. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. That's not the title of it, but that's basically what it's about. So we have the mind unit from the Good and the Beautiful. We're going to work through that this year. That's also for 3rd through 6th grade. So we'll do that together as a family. Yeah, science is easy. Mostly just, eclectic stuff and pulling stuff off YouTube for their interests. Let's see. For history, we're still going strong. We're working through Truth Quest and Hideaways in History. That's by Winter Promise. So we're still piecing that together. We're still towards the beginning of the Age of Discovery. So I'll be honest and say we're still finishing a book about Pocahontas. We're still finishing William Bradford. I probably did talk about this at the end of last year. We've read it a little bit throughout the summer, but not as much as I thought we would. So my plan is to quickly get through those 2 novels before moving on into, more things following the Native Americans and such. So that's my plan. We're still trucking through U.S. geography, which my kids love. And I've also talked about this in a past video. I'll try to link all the past videos that reference any of these topics more in depth. But I basically pieced together their geography and they love that. I think rather than just finishing all of the states now, I kind of want to bring in more world geography as well. So we'll finish the states, of course, but throughout it, I think I'll bring in some more world, other countries, whatever we're talking about historically, I'm going to piece that into geography lessons. So that is the plan for this year. He has a California Dailies book that he still needs to finish. And eventually I am going to have him do a deep dive on California. He started the the Beautiful Feet studies. They have a whole year for California, and that's supposed to be what you go through in the 4th grade year. In California, the state standards are, you learn everything that has to do with your state. So in his case, that's California. And he started that, but we didn't love that program, but there's pieces of it that we really love. So one of the things that I had picked up for him was a California daily book, which was basically just 3 or 4 little questions or topics that he would learn about California. So I'm going to have him finish that. And then by the end of the year, I really do want him to do some sort of presentation on California so he can really learn, everything about his state and be solid on that, because, we love our state, and I think that's just a great thing to get kids excited about where they live. What else does he have? That's history. So we work through timelines, which again, it's just pieced in there with what we're doing in Truth Quest or the Hideaways in History. And then the last thing I have in history, which we've started priorly, is that even a word? I don't know. We started this prior, but never finished it. It's a campfire curriculums focused on the military and anything related to the military. And we started it around, I want to say Labor Day or Veterans Day. And we kind of followed up with it, around 4th of July. It's one of those things that never really stuck because I just didn't make the time for it. But every time we did do a lesson, we really enjoyed it. So I'm going back to that. I'm going to review the lessons we've already talked about and then have him finish that before the end of the year as well. Let's see. I think that's all in history. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all. And then last but not least is language arts. And so I'm going to be still working through Michael Clay Thompson. He is almost done with the Grammar Island level. And that goes fine. He just doesn't do it every day. So we don't fit it into 1 year because we rotate so much. I kind of let him pick hey, what do you want to do today? Or I let him rotate between different curriculums because then that kind of banishes the boredom that you get when you're just doing one specific curriculum every single day. So for him, it works. We just rotate through it. But we really like Michael Clay Thompson. I think he's learned so much about his parts of speech. And, I'm excited to get into the other levels where it goes more into the writing and things like that. So finishing Grammar Island and then going into whatever the next one is. I don't know if it's Grammar Town or whatever the next level is, but we're definitely going to be working our way into that. He has, and I don't know if I've talked about this before, but he has a Scholastic Dictionary of Spelling. And this is just something I found at a used bookstore. And it's really cool. It just has literally tons of spelling words. So we kind of work through it sporadically. He loves to be quizzed on spelling. He's a great speller. So he's far advanced over his 5th grade level of spelling. But I liked that this just had it easily laid out, all these words, not really in a grade level aspect, but just a dictionary of spelling. And so we go through it. When he gets the words right, I highlight it. We don't have to review that again. When he gets it wrong, we go over it at a later time. That's all we do in spelling. He doesn't need a spelling curriculum. But that, I want to say the publisher is Scholastic. And it's called the Dictionary of Spelling. We have the Lost Tools of Writing program, which we haven't started yet. And I don't know if I'm going to start it yet, especially not right at the beginning of the year, because it looks a little advanced to me. But I do want to talk to his homeschool teacher through the charter and just say, hey, at a 5th grade level, are they supposed to be learning all these things pertaining to, essay writing and formal writing like that? I've never done a specific formal writing program. I would say most of what he's done in writing has been very creative and loose. I mean, even learning the structure of a paragraph, I'm so loose about it at this age. I haven't really, I don't sit down and say, hey, you spelled this wrong. Hey, that sentence is not grammatically correct. Like, I let him have his creative writing. I don't want to, banish the enthusiasm, which he doesn't have enthusiasm, should I add. He does not have writing enthusiasm. He hates creative writing. So for that reason, I don't really pick apart his writing and expect, these high formal essays. But I do have this Lost Tools of Writing curriculum that we will potentially touch this year if I feel that fits. He still is finishing the Write It Out C series. I forget the publisher of that, but I'll put a picture on the screen. We don't love that, but he is finishing it out every so often. And then what is it? What's the other one that he has? I think it's an Evan Moore, and it's, Real World Writing. So he still has that to finish. Again, it's slow going. We do it maybe once a week. So we pick out an assignment and he does it. He's still working through that. I want to say it's not a grade level, it's an age. So I think he has one that's good up until 10 years old. And because he's not even 11 yet, it's still going to be fine. He's going to work and, keep working through that. He has a Correct the Sentences book, which is basically just 2 to 3 sentences a day that he will have to proofread, make sure spelling and punctuation and all that is correct. So he'll do that every day. That's kind of like a morning thing. He still does his word of the day. We really love the Merriam-Webster dictionary of the word of the day. So he just goes in there. He looks up by date the words. Because he did this so much last year, we might be getting into the days that he's already learned. Because, every year, the same day, it's going to be the same word. So if that's the case, we'll just go through the summer months. Because during the summer months, he hasn't done the word of the day until we get through all of those words. But he likes that. He just has this little ring of flashcards, I want to say. And he just writes the word and the definitions. And yeah, that's his word of the day. So it's just expanding his vocabulary. What else? If you know anything about ACE, Accelerated Christian Education, he has a couple of the 5th grade, or I want to say 3. He has 3 of their paces for the 5th grade level. So I will have him work through those also, as a morning quick worksheet kind of thing. So he'll do that. We don't do the full ACE curriculum, but when I have the books, I pull from them and we'll just do a worksheet here and there. And that's just gonna, strengthen any English skills that 5th graders should know. So that's that. I'll talk about his books because, of course, that fits in language arts. And this year I have at least 3 for sure that I want us to study, whether it's him by himself or us as a family. I want to get through Tuck Everlasting. I have a unit study for that I'm excited to use. I want to get through Pilgrim's Progress. This has been on my list to do for so long, so I have a unit study for that. And I'm very anxious for us to learn that story. And then last year they started the Percy Jackson series. They got through the entire first book. And then, let's see. And then it kind of fell to the wayside, even though they probably got halfway through the second book as well. As we got closer to summer, everyone just kind of fizzled out. And because we were reading so much of our history books, the Pocahontas and the William Bradford, the Percy got pushed to the side. And so I do want to get back into that and start up that series again, because that was just a fun thing. We started it when we were, going through the Greek mythology and all that. So I'm going to go back to that with him. I think that will be a fun thing to go back to. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think I've got through all of this. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.